I'm not telling you this because I believe it. I'm telling you because I still don't know what to believe, even now, months later. My name doesn't matter. What matters is the house and what I learned inside it. My grandmother died in March. I hadn't spoken to her in 6 years. We weren't close, not since my father passed. Then a lawyer called. She'd left me the house, the only property she owned, in a town I'd never once visited. I almost said no. Selling a house I'd never seen felt easier over the phone. But something about her handwriting on that old will made me want to see the place myself. The town didn't have a name on any map I could find, just a crossing, a general store, and maybe 30 houses scattered along one road. I got there right before sunset, later than I'd planned. What I remember most is how fast people moved once the lights started to go. Not panicked, just efficient. Doors closing, locks turning, curtains drawn shut, one after another, like a routine they'd done 10,000 times before. An old man at the store stopped me before I left. He said, quietly, "Never invite anyone into your house after dark." Just that, no explanation. When I asked why, he only shook his head and went back to restocking a shelf. On the walk to the house, I passed a place 2 doors down that clearly hadn't been lived in for a while. Windows filmed with dust. The front door slightly open, hanging strangely on its hinges, like something had pushed it from the inside, not the outside. I didn't stop to look closer. I told myself it wasn't my business, and kept walking a little faster than before. The house smelled like her. Same soap, same wood polish. 6 years gone and nothing had changed. Except a small note taped to the inside of the front door, right at eye level. It said only, "Never invite anyone in after dark, no matter who they sound like." I found a few more notes that first evening, tucked in drawers and behind picture frames. Always the same short line in her handwriting, getting shakier in the later ones. None of them explained why. They just repeated the rule over and over, like she was reminding herself as much as anyone else. I told myself I'd stay 3 days, long enough to sort the paperwork and list the house with an agent. I didn't let myself think about the nights yet. I thought 3 days would be easy. The first night, someone knocked gently, almost politely. A voice I didn't recognize asked if they could step in out of the cold just for a minute. I hadn't been told why the rule existed, only that it did. For a second, not knowing why almost made it easier to say yes. I didn't. I said nothing, and stood there until I heard footsteps walking away down the gravel path. I didn't sleep much after that. I kept turning the rule over in my head, wondering what I was actually protecting myself from. The next afternoon, I finally asked the woman at the store about the boarded-up house. She went quiet for a moment before answering. She said the man who lived there let someone in last spring, someone whose voice he recognized, calling from right outside his kitchen window. She said nobody in town has gone near that house since, and when I asked what happened to him exactly, she just looked at me and changed the subject. That evening I found her journal in a drawer I'd almost decided not to open. It didn't waste time on why. It only said what I needed to know. After dark, they can look exactly like someone you trust, down to the voice, down to the smallest habit. There's no way to tell, not by sight, not by sound. The only thing that matters is never saying the words that let them in. Tucked into the journal's first page was another note, older, in handwriting that wasn't hers. Her own mother had written it decades earlier, warning her the same way, almost word for word. Whatever this was, it hadn't started with her. It had simply been passed down, one generation deciding to protect the next. Just before dusk the second day, I stepped outside for air and saw someone standing at the tree line across the road, completely still, facing the house. I blinked, and the road was empty. No footsteps, no sound of anyone leaving. I told myself it was a trick of the fading light. I didn't fully believe that, even as I said it to myself, and I didn't step outside again after dark for the rest of my stay. The second night, it was someone claiming to be lost, asking directions back to the main road, asking if they could just come in and look at a map for a moment. I kept the chain lock on and only opened the door a few inches. I said nothing at all. Eventually, the voice thanked me for nothing and walked off into the dark. By the third night, I'd started talking myself out of all of it. Told myself I was tired, that grief plays tricks, that isolated towns breed strange habits for reasons that have nothing to do with anything supernatural. I almost convinced myself. Almost. The fourth night was quiet. Nothing knocked, nothing called. I almost let myself relax. That was the mistake. The fifth night, I heard something at the back window instead of the front door this time. My father's voice, close, almost soft enough to be a whisper, asking if I'd let him in, just to sit together, just to talk the way we used to before everything went wrong between us. I almost said it. The word was already forming right at the edge of my mouth. Come in. I didn't say it. To this day, I don't know if it was really him somehow, or something wearing every memory I had of him. I will never get to know which. That's the part no one warns you about. You don't get closure. You only get to stay quiet and live with not knowing. I sat awake until sunrise, watching the color come back into the windows, feeling something in my chest loosen for the first time in 5 days. Daylight had never felt like relief before that morning. I left that morning before I'd even packed properly. I never finished the paperwork. I told the lawyer to handle the sale from a distance, and I haven't set foot back in that town since. For a while, I told myself distance would be enough. That whatever stayed near that house would stay near that house, and forget about me the moment I crossed the county line. For a while, that worked. Weeks passed. I started sleeping normally again, stopped checking the peephole before every knock, let myself believe the whole thing belonged to one road, one house, one town I'd never have to see again. 3 weeks ago, someone knocked on my apartment door, late, in a city hundreds of miles from that house. A neighbor, or someone who looked exactly like one I vaguely recognized from the hallway. They asked if I wanted company. Maybe coffee, they said. Nothing more than that. I said nothing back. I stood there a long moment, my hand flat against the door, waiting. After a while, I heard them walk away, unhurried, like they had all the time they needed. I keep telling myself the rule was only ever about that town, that house, that one road out past the crossing. I keep telling myself that. But I haven't said yes to anyone unexpected since, and I don't think I ever will again. Some nights, I still hear my father's voice in my head, asking, so gently, if he can just come in and sit for a while. I don't think that ever really stops. I think you just get better at staying quiet.